Excel or Power BI? And the answer you usually get is, it depends, which is true and completely useless. So let me do something more helpful. By the end of this video, you'll have an actual score for your actual situation and a clear answer. Here's how it works. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. After each one, there's a pause. You pick A or B, and you keep count. 5 A's means stay in Excel. 5 B's means move to Power BI. And most of you will land somewhere in between, which is genuinely the correct answer for most real work. Now, before we start, I want to say something that the internet gets wrong about this. Power BI is not Excel but better. They're different tools that overlap in the middle, and the overlap is where all the confusion lives. Excel is a spreadsheet. It's a grid where you can type anything anywhere, and that flexibility is its superpower and its weakness. Power BI is a reporting tool. It's rigid on purpose because rigid is what makes it repeatable. And here's the thing nobody tells you. About 70% of what a business analyst actually does still happens in Excel. So this is not a video about replacing Excel. It's about knowing which one to reach for. Grab something to keep score with. Question 1 is next.
Question 1. How often does this thing run? Think about the specific piece of work you have in mind. Option A, it's a one-off. Somebody asked a question, you need an answer today, and nobody will ever ask again. Or it runs occasionally and the shape of the data changes each time. Option B, it runs every week or every month forever. Same file layout, same questions, different numbers. And this is the single most important question of the 5. So if you only remember one thing from this video, remember this one. Here's the logic. Excel wins decisively on the one-off. You open the file, you sort, you filter, you write a quick formula, you have your answer in 20 minutes. Setting up Power BI for that same task would take you an hour, and then you throw it away. That's a bad trade. But flip it around. If it runs monthly, Excel makes you pay that 20 minutes every single month for error. Power BI makes you pay an hour once, and then it's a click. So the break-even is roughly 3 or 4 repetitions. Below that, Excel. Above that, Power BI. Pick your letter. Pause now.
Question 2. How big is the data and where does it come from? Option A. It's one file and it's under, say, 100,000 rows. It arrives as a spreadsheet or you can export it as one. Option B. It's several files that need combining, or it's over a few 100,000 rows, or it's coming from a database, or it's 12 monthly exports sitting in a folder. Now, let me give you the honest numbers here because people quote nonsense about this. Excel's hard limit is 1,048,576 rows. That's the real number. But the practical limit is much lower. Somewhere around 100 to 200,000 rows with formulas, Excel starts feeling sluggish and every recalculation makes you wait. Power BI handles millions of rows comfortably because it compresses the data and it was built for exactly this. But, and this matters, if your data is 30,000 rows in one tidy sheet, Power BI's advantage here is basically zero. Size only becomes an argument when there's actually size. Pick your letter. Question 3. Who is going to look at the output and how? Option A. It's you, or you and one colleague, and the deliverable is a number or a table you'll paste into an email or a slide. Option B. It's a group of people. They need to explore it themselves, filter it to their own region or product, and they'll want it on their phone. This one is about distribution, and it's where Power BI genuinely pulls ahead, but not for the reason people think. It's not that Power BI charts are prettier. Honestly, Excel charts are perfectly good, and you have more control over them. It's that Excel has no good answer for 5 people need this, filtered differently, updated weekly. What you end up doing is emailing 5 copies, and then those 5 copies drift apart, and within a month, nobody knows which one is right. That's the actual failure mode. Power BI gives you one report, one source, with filters each person applies themselves. But if the answer genuinely is just you, then Excel, and don't overthink it. Pick your letter. Question 4. How messy is the data, and does that mess repeat? Option A. It's clean, or it's messy in a way that's different each time, so you'd be judging each case by hand anyway. Option B, it's messy in the same way every time. The same columns are always text when they should be numbers, the same blank rows are always in the same place, regions are always spelled 3 different ways. And this is where I want to be careful, because there's a trap. The instinct is to say messy data means Power BI. That's not quite right. What actually matters is whether the mess is predictable. Because Power Query records your cleaning steps and replays them, which is enormous value when next month's file is broken the same way. But if every file is broken differently, you're rewriting the steps each time, and you've gained very little over just fixing it by hand. And here's the nuance most people miss. Power Query is in Excel too. Same engine, same interface on the data tab. So this question isn't really Excel versus Power BI at all. It's, should I be using Power Query? And the answer to that is almost always yes. Pick your letter. Question 5, the last one. Does this need to be auditable? Option A, not really. You just need the number, and if someone questions it, you can walk them through your working. Option B, yes. Someone will ask why the total changed. There's a compliance angle, or it's going to a board, or 3 people need to work on it without breaking each other's work. This one gets overlooked, and it's the reason a lot of finance teams move. In a spreadsheet, anybody can type over a cell. A hard-coded value sitting inside what looks like a formula column is completely invisible, and it will silently change your total. There's no history, no record of who did what. In Power BI, the transformation steps are written down and ordered. The measures are defined once, and you can point at the exact step that produced a number. That's genuinely valuable when someone challenges you. Now, in fairness to Excel, you can absolutely build a disciplined spreadsheet with locked cells, named ranges, and a change log. I've seen beautiful ones. It's just that almost nobody does, and the tool doesn't push you towards it. Last letter, pick it now. Right, count them up. Mostly A's, 4 or 5. Stay in Excel. Genuinely stay there. Don't let anyone make you feel behind for it. Learning Power BI for a task Excel handles in 20 minutes is procrastination with extra steps. Mostly B's, 4 or 5, move it to Power BI and do it properly with a real model rather than one flat table. It'll take you an afternoon and then it'll pay you back every month. And 3-2, either way, this is where most people actually land. And here's the answer for you, because it's not a compromise, it's the professional setup. Use both, deliberately. Power Query to load and clean because that's repeatable and it lives in both tools. Power BI for the dashboard people look at, and Excel for the ad hoc question that lands at 4 in the afternoon. And for anything you need to send someone as a file they can poke at. That's not fence sitting. That's what most good analysts actually do. And being able to explain why you chose one for a given task is worth more than being an expert in either. Now let me spend a minute on where Excel genuinely wins, because most comparison videos skip this and it makes them useless. 5 things. 1. Speed to a one-off answer. Nothing beats opening a file and just looking. Power BI cannot compete on that. 2. What if and scenario work. If you want to change a number and see everything recalculate, that's a spreadsheet. Goal seek, solver, data tables, and just typing over a cell to see what happens. Power BI is read-only by design. 3. Anything cell level. Building a financial model, a schedule, an invoice, a plan where the structure itself is the work. Power BI has no concept of a cell you can type in. 4. Sharing with people who don't have Power BI. Everyone can open a spreadsheet. Sharing a Power BI report properly needs licenses, and that's a real barrier in a lot of companies. 5. Small data. Under a few thousand rows, Power BI is just ceremony. And one more, which is really about people. Your stakeholder can edit a spreadsheet themselves. Sometimes that's exactly what they want, and handing them a locked dashboard is the wrong answer. And to be fair, the other side, where Power BI genuinely wins, and there are 5 of these too. 1. Anything on a schedule. Set a refresh and the report is simply correct every morning without you touching it. That's the biggest one by a distance. 2. Combining sources. 3 systems, 12 files, a database and a spreadsheet, all in one model with relationships. Excel can do this with Power Query and the data model, but it's clumsy above a certain point. 3. One version of the truth. Nobody emailing copies, nobody working off last Tuesday's numbers. 4. Self-service for other people. They filter it themselves and stop asking you for a variation. That single thing gives a lot of analysts their week back. 5. Row-level security. The same report shows a Mumbai manager only Mumbai, automatically, based on who logged in. There is no reasonable spreadsheet equivalent for that. Notice a pattern in that list? Almost every Power BI advantage is about repetition, scale, or other people. If none of those 3 apply to your task, Excel is not the lesser choice, it's the correct one. So to pull it together, 5 questions. Frequency, and that's the big one. Size and sources, audience, whether the mess repeats, and whether it needs to be auditable. Score yourself honestly, and the answer usually falls out. The thing I'd most like you to take away is this. The question is not which tool is better. It's which tool fits this task, and being able to say why. In an interview, someone who says, I'd use Excel for that, because it's a one-off and setting up a model would be overkill, sounds far more senior than someone who reaches for the most complicated option available. And the practical move, if you're wondering what to actually learn Power Query first, before either. It sits inside both tools, it's the same skill in each, and it's the single highest return thing on this list. Then Power BI's data model, because that's the part that's genuinely different. Your Excel knowledge doesn't get replaced by any of this. It gets a second gear. Tell me in the comments what you scored and what the task was, because I'm curious where people are landing. Subscribe if this helped. See you in the next one.